The Bears found their hidden gem in the Week 4 win against the Las Vegas Raiders. We have one key talking point on how this field goal was able to be blocked in the final seconds of the game. Welcome to Bears Digest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dylan Guinzy. Thank you for joining me once again. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. It looks like 67.5% of you have not done so. It's free. Hit that bell so you can stay up to date on news, rumors, information as it comes to us. So today, guys, we're going to discuss one very, very cool nugget that did come out after the game on why the Bears were able to block the game-winning field goal attempt from Daniel Carlson on the Las Vegas Raiders. It's very cool information and definitely something that you can take home as something that the Bears would never usually do in previous seasons, and especially under the Eberflus era, in my opinion. But on the heels of that game there, getting us to 500, blocking that kick, it was absolutely amazing. And this Victory Monday feels very, very, very bittersweet. Although there's a lot of things to fix with that game, of course, like we discussed yesterday, getting that win to get to 500 is much, 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 much better than staring 1-3 in the face going into the bye week. So phenomenal there. Great job to get that win. But let's discuss what kind of went into the Bears blocking that field goal there. So Bears long snapper played surprisingly key role in Week 4 win over the Raiders. Long snappers don't typically change the outcome of NFL games, but Scott Daly may have saved the day for the Chicago Bears. So a little bit of a background, guys. Patrick Scales was our long snapper in previous years. This year, I believe he retired or is not playing anymore for us, and Scott Daly kind of assumed that role. And a big key for long snappers is finding keys on the other side of the ball as well, right? They have their techniques. They have their special ways of, snapping the ball and, hints that they may or may not give away when they are snapping the ball and things like that. And a key to blocking kicks is being able to time everything correctly, especially around the edges, right, where Blackwell was to block that kick. Being able to time everything off the edges and getting around and diving for that kick there. And Blackwell was able to do so because of Scott Daly and some of the hints, and the main key hint that he gave them or gave him to block this kick. So we'll get right into it. It was this one right here. Bears long snapper Scott Daly told Josh Blackwell that the Raiders long snapper moved the ball before every single snap. Blackwell blocked the Raiders' go-ahead field goal right after kind of learning that information. He had mentioned that the whole game he was getting pretty close. I did notice that on one of them at least. He was getting pretty close because he was reading what Scott Daly told him, and that the long snapper for the Raiders was moving the ball before every snap, right? He was giving that hint every single time. Scott Daly noticed it on film, and he noticed it during the game as well. And Blackwell started to get closer and closer. And as we get to that longer kick, I believe it was 54 yards or somewhere close to there, Daniel Carlson then has to take that trajectory a lot lower since it's a longer kick. And that was a perfect time for Blackwell to get in there and actually hit that timing right once again, and then get that block from that point on as well. So tremendous job. That's just a hidden gem in this win among a lot of other things. And it was Scott Daly in this one. And I think in years past, long snappers and special teams players in general sometimes get a little bit lackadaisical, right, in their approach and how they kind of game plan and things that they read into. Scott Daly was locked in with this one, right? He was doing his job. He found a hint and he found a key, and we capitalized on that key. And that's just good coaching all around, and that's the players believing in everything that they're doing. So phenomenal work there by Scott Daly to get that blocked kick. On that side of things, right, if that kick wasn't blocked, the Bears may still have won. Even if the Raiders made that, they still had a timeout, almost a full minute of game time remaining. I think it was quite a bit less than that, actually, but and would have needed a field goal themselves, but blocking the attempted game winner sealed the deal and preserved the game-winning drive for Caleb Williams and the offense. So, again, guys, Caleb Williams drove the offense down the field yet again for a go-ahead drive, go-ahead game-winning TD drive, like he did many times last year. And what happened after he did that last year? The defense sold, Matt Eberflus sold. Something happened for them to blow those games, right? The Hail Mary, uh, the blocked kick as well in the Packers game, the Vikings, right? All of those, Caleb Williams led game-winning go-ahead drives in the clutch, and it was absolutely just all for nothing at that point, right? And people just like to blame Caleb after that when he didn't even have the ball in his hands to end the game. So finally, he gets a game-winning drive that actually turns out into a win. So hopefully we can start stacking those on, because it's really getting to that point where he's kind of just gathering that clutch gene, and he looks very comfortable out there on those drives, and he makes plays happen, man. He turns into Superman, and it's really, really awesome to see. Another thing I want to point out here, revolving around this game, is Ben Johnson is now 1-1 in Sunday road games. Matt Eberflus in Sunday road games was 0-18, the big goose egg. As I mentioned yesterday, this is a game that the Bears lose 10 out of 10 times in that game against the Raiders yesterday. And yeah, well, it looks like 18 was the final total for Eberflus in Sunday road games. So just an abysmal stat from Eberflus's tenure, and just one of the funnier things, right, that you can kind of pull out of it. All you can do is laugh now, and we hope that that trajectory is changing underneath Ben Johnson. This is a good start, getting that road win on a Sunday, 1-1 for Ben Johnson. So amazing job there. Another thing I did want to point out as well is the status of Ozzy Trapillo. He did come into the game in that second half there. Braxton Jones left the game, and they had Theo Benedette and Ozzy Trapillo in the game. And versus Max Crosby, he had 40 snaps, 26 pass, 14 run, 0 sacks, 0 QB hits, 2 hurries, and he did really, really well. He's a 6'8 monster, and everybody was labeling him a bust, including maybe myself in some categories, but not fully. Obviously, got to give these guys time. But a lot of people were just really hammering down on Ozzy Trapillo and how bad this has gone, I guess, to start the year for him. And he came in and he held up very, very well against Max Crosby. I don't think strength is an issue for Ozzy. It's more of just the technique and knowing the offense and knowing what he's supposed to do and reading his keys on the offensive line and at that tackle spot. So he came in and he did a phenomenal job. That's his, first regular season snaps on the year. And of course, as just another year, Chicago pointed out in this tweet, going against one of the best, league's best, Crosby, he did a phenomenal job, right? Our keys to win this game was to shut down Crosby, or at least not make him noticeable. That wasn't the case in the first half at all. That was one of the best first halves I've seen, and most dominating first halves I've ever seen from an edge rusher in my entire life. He was everywhere. He obviously got the interception, almost got 2, was batting balls down, getting into the quarterback fast, stopping runs. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And as the game went on, towards that third quarter and fourth quarter, he had a couple plays, no doubt. But you heard his name a lot less, right? He wasn't just completely destroying every play, it seemed like, in the second half. And Ozzy Trapillo had a lot to do with that as well. Last thing we're going to touch on here before we wrap up today's video is the Bears and Chiefs are the only two teams to rebound from 0-2 to 2-2. So just kind of further amplifying that the Bears were fine, right? They won the 2 games that they were supposed to win and projected to win to start the year. They lost the 2 games that they weren't projected to win. And honestly, you should have, taken the Vikings game. You should have closed that one out better, and they should be 3-1 right now. But that's all right. We're 2-2. We are 500 going into the bye week, and now you start a new season going off, for the rest of the year. You got 13 games left. What I'm looking for is, can you possibly go 7-6? Is that possible? You look at the schedule in the remaining 13 games. It doesn't look nearly as tough as it did before the season started. But again, it's tough to win in the NFL. It's a week-to-week league, so who knows? But can you possibly see this going 7-6 on the final 13 games and getting to 9-8 for your final record with a playoff opportunity? We'll see. So, with the 1-3, if they were 1-3 going into this bye week, you'd really have no chance. So, good to see you guys. Victory Monday always feels nice, especially in the fashion that it was here for the Bears. So, thank you for joining me once again on Bears Digest. as always, we're going to be here throughout the week on updates, rumors, anything that comes out. So be sure to hit that bell and stay tuned. So, as always, bear down.